Hi YouTube, and welcome to another oil painting time-lapse. Today I'm going to be finishing and fixing an old abandoned painting from over 2 years ago. I started this oil painting in one of my Patreon live streams from August 2017 and just never got around to finishing it. When I found it in my storage closet, I was inspired to finish it and document the process for all you other artists out there with abandoned artworks that you just don't know what to do with. And as usual, I'll be listing all of my art supplies along with links to purchase them in the video description. To mix the skin tones for this portrait, I used only 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, plus black and white. This video won't be going through the color mixing process, but I will be uploading a 30-minute long video tutorial of this piece on my Patreon. In the video, I'll be teaching you how I mix the skin tones using only 3 colors, as well as walking you through each step of the process in creating this painting. If you'd like to check it out along with hundreds of hours of exclusive content, visit patreon.com/happydartist. So, why did I abandon this piece to begin with? Well, I think the fact that I started during a live stream, I wasn't really planning on making time in my schedule for this painting. And in addition to that, I also didn't use any reference. I was feeling a little bit rushed because I was multitasking, participating in the live stream, answering questions, reading comments, and at the same time trying to somehow make this painting work in the limited 1 hour that I had. So obviously this is not representative of my best work, and I think there was just something in my mind that blocked me from ever wanting to touch it again, because it was just this kind of last minute impromptu quick little study that didn't really look super motivating and just wasn't interesting. There were no background elements. There weren't any of my usual surrealist or fantasy touches. It was just kind of something I decided to do for fun in order to do a live demo, and never felt compelled to revisit ever again. But for some reason, 2 years later, when I saw this collecting dust in my storage closet, I just felt this urge to finish it, almost like giving it a second chance. And since I didn't use reference when I first created this piece, again, because I wasn't intending on it being anything serious or an actually important piece of artwork, I decided to basically continue the spirit of not using reference just to see how far I can push this piece and how thoroughly I can finish it without the help of reference or guidelines. By the way, lately, for some reason, I've really been enjoying experimenting with creating art without using any reference, and my last few videos show little glimpses of that. So I was wondering, would you guys enjoy seeing more videos like this? I'm maybe thinking about starting a series on my YouTube channel that explores drawing and painting without reference. So yeah, please let me know in the comments if you're on board. I think it'll be a very fun and challenging exercise. If you're familiar with my work, you've probably noticed that the subjects I paint don't always look realistically human, in the sense that the facial features and body proportions are not anatomically correct. My girls generally have very large foreheads, eyes that are super far apart, and they kind of resemble alien-esque dolls, is what I like to say. I don't really know why I prefer painting my characters this way, but it probably has a lot to do with the films and art that inspired me and that I connected with growing up. Obviously, there are many different genres of art out there, and realism is a beautiful aesthetic as well. But my personal preference tends to lean more towards pop surrealism, which often features non-realistic subjects in surreal fantasy worlds, similar to the style of the Pixar and Disney films that I loved watching so much as a kid. I think my current signature aesthetic is something I developed over time almost subconsciously as I reduced my dependency on reference photos. This is most noticeable when comparing my newer pieces to my older pieces. If you take a look at my earlier works, you can see how they definitely showcased more anatomically correct human proportions, because when I first started out, I wasn't as confident in my skills and therefore needed to follow my reference photos more closely. But as time went on and I practiced more and built up a bigger reservoir in the visual library of my brain, I started to feel more confident to venture further away from needing references as guidelines for my work. So if I wanted to paint a certain pose or facial expression that I couldn't find in a reference photo, I would improvise by relying on the knowledge stored in my mental library. While I strongly believe that practicing with reference is crucial in building the foundation skills necessary to become a strong artist, I also think there's a significant benefit in taking a vacation from references every now and then. Reference helps us execute our visions into reality because the concepts in our minds are sometimes vague and nebulous, so to fully render all the little details necessary to communicate our vision to the viewer, we need reference photos to fill in those blanks and guide us. But with enough practice, you can slowly start remembering how to flesh out those little details on your own. And then once you no longer need to follow the rules set by your reference photos, you can find the freedom to really explore your creativity without any boundaries. To be honest, I never consciously planned to stylize my characters the way that I do, and it still kind of surprises me when I compare my older works to my current works, because I actually thought I would go down the route of painting my humans more realistically and only leaving the fantasy and surreal elements for the background. But it was during those moments of doodling and concept sketching without any reference that I allowed myself to follow the path I felt naturally inclined to take. And that's how I discovered an affection for the more stylized, less realistic features, almost like bumping into that realization by accident when I was just exploring. I know this might sound like a cheesy motivational speech, but giving yourself the chance to create art without looking at anything else to guide you is one of the best ways to enrich your creativity. And with that freedom comes the opportunity to discover who you truly are as an artist. And that about wraps up today's video. Thank you all so much for staying with me this long and listening to me ramble, even though sometimes I don't make sense. But hopefully this video can inspire some of you out there to pick up any old unfinished artworks you have lying around and maybe breathe some new life into them. And after sitting in storage for the past 2 years, this piece is finally done and ready for a new home. So if you're interested in adopting her, she's available in my shop at happyd-artist.com. Today's video is brought to you by Skillshare, an online learning community for creators with over 25,000 classes in drawing, painting, design, and more. Their premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality courses from experts working in their fields, so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love. Whether you want to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or even career, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep you learning and thriving in 2019. Here are 2 classes that I think are great for beginner artists. The first is a fun and colorful class teaching the basics of how to paint with gouache. And this one focuses on how to create beautiful digital illustrations using the iPad Procreate app. Skillshare is also super affordable as their annual subscription is less than $10 a month. Join more than 7 million creators learning with Skillshare. For a 2-month free trial of Skillshare Premium, just check out the link in my video description. Also, if you'd like to see more daily artist adventures and works in progress, you can follow me on Instagram at the handle happydartist. And if you're interested in learning more about how to paint and draw, I have lots of art educational content on my Patreon page, including exclusive video tutorials, step-by-step photo tutorials, live streams, podcasts, and so much more, all available at patreon.com/happydartist. I'd love to have you join my Patreon family. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!